Hello, friends worldwide. Very good evening to all my people, lovely people around the world. It's me back on live on my YouTube channel. It's a great pleasure to be here. And I'm just learning, how to become a YouTuber. Oh, that's a very new thing. I'm so excited about it. And today, that like my last episode I had telling a little bit about my childhood, my the ways I was brought up to, and I'm going to share something today that which I had inside me, for a long time from my childhood days, and it's there in everybody's life, I feel, and or at least some people's life. And somewhere, when I was in school, and and from that time it actually came up, maybe looking at my father and looking, some of the friends which I used to mix with in my childhood days, and that actually always, give me some kind of a, real kick inside, a real excitement that why can't I have this, why can't I have that. I used to see these cars going by which I really loved so much, and that I'm almost 35 years back, 30 years back. There were in Kolkata not much of, imported cars, but at least, I used to see some of the fancy cars that time, which act and I in my house we didn't have cars. So I will always be, have this imagination, and human beings actually have this power of imagination which other animals or other guide people doesn't have. And that is what gives, human beings extra liveliness, some kind of different feeling, doing something always creative. I always, and always felt that, something is there which this thing I really love, this cars. And when I used to go into some hotel, I used to really feel it, that that the ambience and the cleanliness, all this was, from I inherited like from my parents, and whom I am real gratitude to them. The way they brought me in, like my dad was always a person who is to be, thinking above his his life, thinking something beyond even which he was not able to have, but he was still thinking a step ahead. And that gave me that kind of a feeling, maybe, that I always used to think beyond my means, what I cannot get, even what I don't have in my access, still I used to imagine and see it and love it so much. I want to feel it. I Whenever I used to, go to some places to visit, and stay in some good hotels, have some good food, and those gave me that, yeah, oh, someday I will own this, someday I will have this. And like I was like a crazy guy, always I'm dreaming about things which is impossible for me at that time, or which is impossible to even get into. My first love, my crush, or you can say at the in the age of, approximately for what, 10, 11 years, I used to get crush on, certain girls, and which always naturally, human beings at that age have infatuation, knowing fully it, maybe, that girl is much more, I mean, more knowledgeable, or giving or getting good marks than me, but and I cannot get that kind of a marks, or I am not eligible or qualified to, have her as my love or princess. But still, I used to imagine, why not? I used to imagine crazy things, out of my life. I wanted to have, things or stuff which will really inspire me, which would give me a kind of a feeling that, that I need to earn a lot of money, maybe, to get those things. I have to uh, have that kind of a stature, or that kind of an education, or that kind of, being first or second or third in class, but anyway, I was not that maybe good in studies, and so, but still, the power of the imagination is so vast, guys, that it can make people do unbelievable things which are not even possible to be, in reality. And that's what always, inspired me, to go further. When I went to my engineering and then to MBA, I went to different places where I started seeing different culture, different things. And I used to, one of the biggest dreams is to, be in Bombay, be an actor sometime. because I used to see this actor on the silver screen coming up, showing out, and all this fancy stuff they're wearing, and I always used to have this kind of want, and that I will wear such kind of stuff where which will be actually crazy for me. I will be really loving it, and dresses which worth maybe thousands or lakhs that time, which is not affordable for me, but I wanted. We always used to have imagination. The power of the imagination, is limitless for a human being, and that is what keeps a human being growing up in life, and growing up in career, growing up, and growing up. I only knew only one way, that I have to grow up, study hard to go into a good, organization, to work for that organization, because none other than that I could see in front, in my place, in my vicinity, or the people I used to live. And it was always talks about good marks, getting good grades, so that you can go to good colleges and you can get a good job. And what was the size of the, I used to dream of getting into MNCs, so that in that the MNCs I'll get good salary, and that will actually settle me out and fulfill all those unbelievable dreams I used to always daydream. Even in my school also, inside I'm daydreaming that I'll have this beautiful house, I'll have this beautiful car with the beautiful princess, because the movies actually inspired me. A lot of movies inspired me. I can be the hero of my movie, and should not be the villain. I should be actually fighting the villain. And in life, we sometimes, have to think, whether actually in reality, am I becoming the hero of my own movie, or am I not becoming the hero of my own movie? And that which actually, that power of imagination, or doing the unbelievable stuff, doing the impossible stuff, leads to a person to become that. So I always had this craving, okay, I'll be in a good organization, working very hard, and getting into bigger roles, getting into manager roles. Because one of my, after I went to my first organization, my first boss was very great, and I'm really used to love the boss, and I used to feel that I will go one level to that manager level, and once I get into manager level, things will be beautiful. And that was another power of imagination, another craving. So I worked hard day in and day out, to go into that level in the organization. But once I really reached that level, and still I felt, oh, I need to go to the general manager or the vice president level. They have a beautiful life. They are having cars from the company. They are going here. They're also sometimes going business class instead of they're flying high. So I remember going to flight was unbelievable in my society, in my middle class family. And my first flight was when I took the second job, changing the job and going to sales, because I felt that if I go to sales and marketing, I'll get to go to places and maybe a flight. So I remember I took the first flight and was so happy. I was amazed. Oh, now I've arrived in life. This is what I wanted for so many years. Moving in flight. I got my first laptop from the company, and I was amazed. So these stuffs actually was very fancy to me, and I always loved to have, crazy stuff. I always loved to have the big things which the big people are doing. Somehow it was ingrained inside me, and for that, my parents and my some friends or brother used to say, you are going beyond your means. You shouldn't go that beyond. You shouldn't spend that much. You are not made for that kind of spending. You have limited earning, so save money. And I always to hear, and I also was irritated, and I didn't like it, because what to save money for if I don't enjoy my own life at this stage? Then what I'm going to enjoy when I become old? So that was my thinking. So I always felt, no, let me enjoy. So whenever I used to I used to feel the salary, I used to get the salary, I used to almost, utilize it to buy some good dress for me, and then something good thing for me, a mobile handset. I used to change mobiles, because that time the culture of mobile started coming in, and I used to feel, okay, this mobile is great, that mobile is great, some technological instruments, or everything. But I used to always have this, guys. And this actually drove me into, no, at a point of time in that job, cannot give me a lot of things which I want, because maybe it can give to up to an extent, but how much hard I work, the hardest I work, still if I go up the ladder, somewhere there will be a ceiling of the salary, that coming that every month, and that actually, because I was wanting to push beyond my limits, thinking beyond my stuff. And when this fancy, imported cars I used to see, I traveled abroad, and I still remember, going to US, in the exotic place and buying stuff and seeing and feeling stuff which was beyond my means into US dollars, and I was calculating in Indian money. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot buy this. Why this is limitation for me? And that was the point of time. I used to think, why that I have to be in, I used to question the system, that why inside me, I cannot question outside maybe, but it's a question system, why I have to, be limited to the stuffs, why I can't go and buy into those stuffs, why I can go into those places where, that the people who are very rich, the famous stays, what is different in them? Sometimes it used to come in my thinking, but again, the milieu of life and the society, the people around me always used to try to, pull me back into reality. And when again used to see the reality, oh my God, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. And I used to always come back to reality. So always that sucked me out and then again came me back. But I never lost that dreams. I never lost that hunger inside. Somewhere it's kept, burning. Somewhere the little candle used to burn. And I always used to think, someday maybe I'll be rich. Someday I will be in those places where the, very few people I can see stay, or I can observe from a distance. Why don't I can't make, I always had this feeling that why can't I be a famous person? Why can't people know me? You know, why I can't be that? So have you ever thought, guys, that, that why can't you become a name in the society? Somebody who's doing for the some, from a nobody to a somebody, from a zero to a hero. It's possible. It's possible. I can understand now. It's possible, really. That if I have that hunger, that craziness, and that madness of a dreamer, then really it's possible for anyone, to reach greater heights. And in today's world now, it's ever more ever possible that to bring out that. So that craziness, that little child within me was always somewhere alive, and it used to kick out of it, but again, this and it was pulled back. So then, at a point of time, it was, it kept coming into a breaking point when it has to come out. Because if you have that inside you, it will come out someday from you. You will bring out. You have to unleash, and somebody is required as a mentor, a guide, or a coach who can really bring out that potential, guys. And that will be the moment when you realize that, yes, I also can do that. I also can become somebody. So it was a great feeling for me. I wanted to share this out because I always used to feel from my childhood this thing, that when, if I can someday become rich, I can someday become famous. Some people will know me for goodness, not for any bad things, but people will know me, for doing something good for others. And I think that only, is what, which is required for a human being, because the power of the imagination is what we have, and if we utilize that, if we unleash that, anything is possible, and that is proven so many years together. So thank you, everybody. It was nice speaking to you on this, YouTube live. I hope you like it. Subscribe if you really like it, and put a thumbs up there. Thanks a lot. Great to see you guys. I'll be back again soon, and I'll have a very good rocking year this night, 2022.